History is a vast tapestry. It's woven with countless threads. Some shine brightly, catching our eye immediately. Others are more subtle, hidden in the background. But these hidden threads are just as important. They add depth and richness to the overall picture. Today, we're going to pull on some of these lesser-known threads. We'll see where they lead us. Our journey will take us across time and space. We'll visit bustling cities and remote battlefields. We'll meet quirky characters and witness bizarre events. From sticky disasters to feathered foes, from dancing plagues to missing summers, these stories will surprise and delight you. They'll make you see history in a whole new light. Are you ready to uncover some hidden histories? Let's begin our journey through time. Let's start our journey in Boston, Massachusetts. The date is January 15th, 1919. It's an unusually warm day for winter. The streets are bustling with activity, but something strange is about to happen. Something that will go down in history as one of the oddest disasters ever. On Commercial Street stands a massive tank. It's 50 feet tall and 90 feet in diameter. It's filled with 2.3 million gallons of molasses. Suddenly, without warning, the tank bursts. A tidal wave of molasses rushes through the streets. It moves at speeds up to 35 miles per hour. The wave is 15 feet high in some places. It sweeps away everything in its path. People, horses, cars, and buildings are all caught in the sticky flood. The aftermath is devastating. 21 people lose their lives and about 150 are injured. This bizarre disaster becomes known as the Great Molasses Flood. Now let's fast forward to 1932. We're heading to Western Australia. The Great Depression is in full swing. Farmers are struggling to make ends meet. But they face an unusual enemy. It's not drought or disease, it's emus. Yes, those large, flightless birds native to Australia. They're causing havoc in the wheat-growing regions. The emus are destroying crops and fences. Farmers are at their wits' end. They turn to the government for help. The government's solution? Send in the military. Soldiers armed with Lewis guns take on the emus, but the birds prove to be surprisingly resilient. The war lasts for about a month. In the end, the emus emerge victorious. This bizarre episode becomes known as the Great Emu War. Let's travel back in time now to the summer of 1518. We find ourselves in Strasbourg, part of the Holy Roman Empire. It's a typical day in the city. People are going about their business. Suddenly, something strange happens. A woman named Frau Trophia starts dancing in the street. She doesn't stop. For days, she keeps dancing. At first, people think it's odd but harmless. But then something even stranger happens. Other people start joining in. Within a week, 34 people are dancing non-stop. By the end of the month, there are 400 dancers. They dance day and night, barely stopping to eat or sleep. This bizarre event becomes known as the Dancing Plague of 1518. To this day, we're not entirely sure what caused it. Section 5. The Year Without a Summer, 1816's Global Chill. Now let's move forward to 1816. It's known as the Year Without a Summer. But why? What could cause an entire season to disappear? The answer lies not on Earth, but thousands of miles away. In April 1815, Mount Tambora erupted. It was the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history. The explosion was heard over 1,600 miles away. Ash fell as far as 800 miles from the volcano. The volcanic ash spread throughout the Earth's atmosphere. It blocked out the sun's rays. This caused global temperatures to drop. In 1816, the effects were felt worldwide. In New England, there was snow in June. Crops failed across Europe and North America. The Year Without a Summer had some unexpected consequences too, inspiring great art and literature. Section 6. The Great Hanoi Rat Massacre, a tale of unintended consequences. Let's journey now to French colonial Vietnam in 1902. Hanoi is facing a rat problem. The city's sewers are overrun with rodents. They're spreading disease and causing damage. The colonial government decides to take action. Their solution? Pay people for each rat they kill. At first, the plan seems to work. People start bringing in rats by the hundreds, but then they start noticing something strange. They're seeing a lot of rats without tails running around the city. It turns out people have found a loophole in the system. Instead of killing the rats, some enterprising individuals are catching them, cutting off their tails and releasing them back into the sewers. The rat population explodes. This fiasco becomes known as the Great Hanoi Rat Massacre. Section 7, the Toledo War, when Michigan and Ohio almost came to blows. Now let's head to the United States in the 1830s. The country is expanding rapidly, new states are being formed. But sometimes this process doesn't go smoothly. Case in point, the Toledo War. It's a conflict you probably haven't heard of, but it almost led to bloodshed between Michigan and Ohio. The problem started with a mapping error. When Ohio became a state in 1803, its northern border wasn't clearly defined. Later, when Michigan was preparing for statehood, it claimed a strip of land that included the city of Toledo. Ohio said this land belonged to them. Neither side was willing to back down. Tensions escalated quickly. Both Michigan and Ohio sent militias to the disputed area. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and President Andrew Jackson stepped in to resolve the dispute. Section 8, the defenestrations of Prague, when throwing people out windows was a political statement. Let's travel now to Prague in what is now the Czech Republic. The year is 1618. Europe is on the brink of a major conflict, and it all starts with people being thrown out of windows. Yes, you heard that right. This event is known as the defenestration of Prague. And believe it or not, it wasn't the first time this had happened in Prague. The word defenestration means the act of throwing someone out of a window. In Prague, it became a sort of political tradition. Protestant nobles were unhappy with the Catholic Habsburg rule. They decided to take matters into their own hands. They stormed Prague Castle and found 2 Catholic regents and their secretary. Without much ado, they threw them out of a window. This event marked the beginning of the 30 Years' War. Section 9, the Great Hedge of India, a 1,100-mile green barrier. Now let's journey to 19th century India. The British East India Company rules much of the subcontinent. They face many challenges in governing this vast territory. One of their biggest problems? Salt smuggling. Their solution? Build a hedge. But not just any hedge. We're talking about a hedge that stretches for over 1,100 miles. This massive barrier became known as the Great Hedge of India. It ran from the Indus River in the west to the Mahanadi in the east. At its peak, it was 12 feet high and 14 feet wide. It was made up of various thorny plants native to India. The hedge was patrolled by 12,000 men. Their job was to stop salt smugglers and collect taxes. Today, the Great Hedge of India is largely forgotten. Section 10, the Phantom Time Hypothesis. Did the Middle Ages really happen? Now let's dive into one of the strangest historical theories out there. It's called the Phantom Time Hypothesis, and it suggests that a big chunk of the Middle Ages never actually happened. Yes, you heard that right. According to this theory, the years 614 to 911 CE never existed. They were simply made up. This wild idea was proposed by a German historian named Heribert Illig in 1991. He claimed that the Holy Roman Emperor Otto III, Pope Sylvester II, and possibly the Byzantine Emperor Constantine VII had conspired to fabricate 297 years of history. Why? To place themselves at the year 1000 CE, a date of great religious significance. Of course, the vast majority of historians reject this theory. There's plenty of evidence that these years did indeed occur. But the Phantom Time Hypothesis remains popular among some conspiracy theorists. It's a reminder that history is always open to interpretation. Section 11, Echoes of the Past. Why these hidden histories matter. As we come to the end of our journey, let's reflect on what we've discovered. We've traveled through time and across the globe. We've encountered sticky floods and dancing plagues. We've met warring emus and rat-breeding colonists. We've seen how a volcano can erase a summer and how a hedge can divide a subcontinent. Each of these stories is a thread in the tapestry of human history. These hidden histories matter. They remind us that history is not just about grand battles and famous leaders. It's about everyday people too. It's about the strange, the unexpected, and sometimes the downright bizarre. These stories show us the complexity of human experience. They reveal our ingenuity, our folly, and our resilience in the face of adversity.